Sophia and I were the perfect couple, or so I thought. We met in college. She was the brilliant, beautiful exchange student, and I was just a guy completely mesmerized by her. For 5 years, everything was a dream. We built a life together, shared every secret, every dream. I was saving up for a ring, picturing our future, kids, a house with a little garden. I honestly believed our love was one for the storybooks. I loved her with everything I had. Then, one evening, the storybook slammed shut. I came home early from a work trip planning to surprise her. I walked in, and there she was, in our living room, with another man. It wasn't just a friend. The look on their faces, the way they jumped apart, it was undeniable. My heart didn't just break. It felt like it evaporated. The woman I was ready to give my life to was living a double life in the home we built together. The shock was so profound, I couldn't even speak. I just turned around and walked out, the image seared into my brain forever. That night, I didn't sleep. I just sat in my car, replaying every moment of our relationship. Were there signs I missed? Every late night at the office, every weekend trip with the girls, it all started to look suspicious. The worst part was realizing how meticulously she had lied. She had woven a web of deceit so complex, I had been living in a complete fantasy. Anger started to replace the shock. It was a cold, quiet rage. How could she do this? After everything we'd been through, all the sacrifices I'd made for us. I had supported her through her master's degree, worked 2 jobs so she could focus on her studies, and this was how she repaid me. The other man, I later found out, was her wealthy boss. Suddenly, it all made sense. The expensive gifts she claimed she bought for herself, the sudden taste for high-end restaurants. I wasn't just betrayed. I felt used. I was the comfortable, stable guy she kept on the side while she pursued a more glamorous lifestyle. The thought made my blood boil, but I knew a loud confrontation wouldn't do any good. It would just give her the satisfaction of seeing me broken. No, she didn't deserve my tears. She deserved to understand the consequences of her actions. So, I started to plan. I acted as if nothing had happened. The next morning, I went home. I told her I had to pull an all-nighter at work and had just crashed at a cheap motel to avoid the long drive back. She bought it. Hook, line, and sinker. She even acted concerned, asking if I was okay. The performance was sickening, but I played my part. I hugged her, told her I loved her, and all the while a storm was brewing inside me. I needed to gather evidence, not just for myself, but to make sure her lies couldn't hurt me any further. I started small, put a voice-activated recorder in her car. I checked our shared phone records, something I'd never dreamed of doing before. The calls and texts were all there, pages and pages of them, filled with pet names and plans I was never a part of. Each message was a fresh stab in the heart, but it also fueled my resolve. I was no longer the heartbroken boyfriend. I was a detective in my own life, uncovering a conspiracy against my own heart. I discovered they had planned a romantic getaway to Italy for her upcoming birthday. The trip I had been saving for, the one I was going to propose on, she was going to take him instead. The next step was our finances. We had a joint savings account where most of my salary went. I had trusted her completely with our money. I logged in and saw large, unexplained withdrawals over the past few months. She was funding her lavish dates with my hard-earned money. That was the final straw. This wasn't just about cheating. It was about theft and a complete lack of respect. She saw me as nothing more than a bank account and a safety net. Her birthday was approaching, and she was getting more and more excited talking about her girl's trip to Italy. She even had the audacity to ask me to drop her off at the airport. It was the perfect stage for my final act. A few days before her birthday, I went to our bank. I calmly explained the situation to a manager, showed them the proof of the unauthorized withdrawals, and with their help, I drained the joint account of every penny that I had deposited. I left her with exactly what she had contributed over the years, next to nothing. I then packed all her things, every last designer bag and shoe she'd bought with my money, into boxes. The day of her birthday trip arrived. She was all dressed up, suitcases packed, beaming with excitement. I drove her to the airport, just as she asked. I even helped her with her bags. She gave me a quick kiss goodbye, telling me she'd miss me. The hypocrisy was astounding. As she walked toward the check-in counter, I sent her a single text message. It was a screenshot of the empty joint bank account, followed by the words, "Have a wonderful trip to Italy. I hope he's paying. Oh, and all your things are on the front lawn. Don't come back." I didn't wait for a reply. I blocked her number, blocked her on all social media, and drove away. I could only imagine the panic and confusion on her face as she saw that message, her house keys no longer working, her ticket to paradise suddenly a one-way trip to reality. Later, I heard from a mutual friend that her boss, confronted with the drama and the fact that she was now broke, promptly ended things with her. He wasn't interested in a project. He was interested in a fantasy, and the fantasy was over. It took a long time to heal. Betrayal on that level leaves deep scars. But taking back control, exposing the truth, not with rage, but with cold, hard facts, gave me a sense of closure. I didn't get revenge to be cruel. I did it to reclaim my life, my dignity, and my future. I learned a tough lesson about trust, but I also learned about my own strength. Today I'm doing better. I'm focusing on myself, rebuilding my life on a foundation of honesty. And while the memory still hurts sometimes, I know I did the right thing. I walked away from a lie and chose to find a truth that was just for me. Thanks for listening to my story. If you've been through something similar, know that you're not alone and you have the strength to move forward. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories.